Greetings, Melanated Nation. I am Tiffany Turner Reed, your host, and I want to welcome you to Out of Darkness, Let There Be Light, a place where we explore history, examine today's most important conversations, and seek understanding through thoughtful dialogue. Our purpose is to simply to inform, to challenge, to encourage reflection, and to illuminate what has to often remained in the shadows. Thank you for joining us today. So, our question today is every community carries its story. Some stories are filled with triumph, others carry pain, some are marked by division, while others remind us of resilience. But every community shares one thing in common: we all long for a place where families are safe, our children can dream, our elders are honored, our neighbors know one another by name. The question before us today is not simply how we got here. The question is, how do we move forward? How do we restore what has been broken? And what role do faith, healing, and community play in the journey? Today, we're going to be welcoming back our most honored guest, Miss Nadia Brown Davis, author, advocate, professional life coach, and mental health professional. She's going to take over today for me. We're going to just kind of veggie back off of one another while we wait on our surprise guest, Miss Diane Gibson. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much, Miss Nadia.
Okay, so today, if we're talking about building communities and building stronger communities, and a lot of times when we talk about building stronger communities, we often start that conversation talking about what's wrong with our communities, right? We talk about the crime and or the economics or the lack thereof, and so I think today it should be a different conversation around focus on not so much the problem, but the possibilities.
Right.
Like a solution focused conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Because strong communities don't just pop up. Developers don't build strong communities, right? They're not there by accident. They're built when the schools, the churches, the community members all come together with the common goal.
Yes.
And I think the important thing for us to discuss today is we don't have those same communities that we had 20, 30 years
That's
ago.
right.
And so how do we get back there?
Yes.
You know, so like I said, a solution focused kind of conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Miss Tiffany, I know you're big on community and things like that. So my question to you would be, like, what support systems do you think existed previously? Like when you were growing up,
Miss Diane's here.
or in previous conversations or previous generations that you feel like are missing today? And how do you think that has affected our neighborhoods, our families, our communities?
Well, one thing I do want to say, Nadia, is we have to remember that communities are not built by buildings.
Right.
Communities are built by the people who choose to become responsible for one another. And I think we have lost that concept of a togetherness. We're so divided and we're so separated now that we don't know what community means anymore because
Right.
we have been forced to be put in a neighborhood or be put in this box, and it's like we're trapped, because we were forced to be put in this position, in this place. So
Right.
we're complacent right now in these little neighborhoods, and so we can't think outside of that.
Right.
So my thing is that the structure, how our ancestors had it back starting in the 1920s on up to 1960s, the structure was the church, then education, then community leaders. So, but look at the structure now of our church, education, and leaders.
Right.
So that's where I'm thinking that we have to start directing it first, so that we can get that back into our construct of community.
Right. Right. And I agree with that. Our grandparents were they went to the whatever the rally was or the community meeting or those things, and everybody came together. You know, like you said, the educators were there, the administrators were there, the church and the you know, leaders of the church were there.
Yes.
All of your neighbors, they all went together. So then it created an atmosphere where everybody was on the same page.
Right.
It created an atmosphere where you know, everybody was on the same page working towards a common goal.
Right.
And we just don't do that anymore.
That's right. That's right. That's
Right.
right. Greetings, Miss Gibson. How are you?
Hi,
Oh my
family. I'm
goodness.
doing good. How are you all
We're doing amazing. Thank you. That
That's
energy,
good.
I love that energy. We do apologize, family. We want to welcome in our special guest real quick. We had already started opening up, and Miss Nadia was taking us in. But I want to give a special honor to one of our Miss Community. But she's more than Miss Community. I want to say one thing about this young lady that's here with us today. She's an activist. She is a champion of justice. I want to say that, and I think that she is like so amazing. When I read up on you, and I used to listen to you on K104, you know, and I said, how did I not think about Miss Gibson, you know, been in the fight? But I wanna kind of give her that she is our champion, and Miss Diane, Miss Community Gibson. She has worked in the community. Others became the heart of the community for more than 3 decades. Diane, Miss Community Gibson, has dedicated her life to serving the people of Dallas County with compassion, integrity, and unwavering commitment to justice. Affectionately known throughout the community as Miss Community, Diane has become a trusted advocate, connecting thousands of individuals and families to life-changing resources, including employment opportunities, housing assistance, and essential community services. Through her work on K104, she has inspired hope while empowering residents with information that changes lives. As the Community Courts Division Section Head for the Dallas City Attorney's Office, Diane pioneered the creation of 5 community courts, transforming the way justice is delivered at the neighborhood level. Her visionary leadership has helped create accessible pathways for individuals facing citations, housing evictions, and other civil matters, offering practical solutions, restoring dignity, and opening doors to second chances. Her life work reflects a simple but profound belief: justice should not only be fair, it should also be accessible, compassionate, and connected to the needs of the community. Thank you so much for being here today, Miss Gibson.
Thank you all.
Yes, Miss Nadia was just giving us a question on the community, and go ahead and repost that question for us, Miss Nadia.
And so my question was, what support systems do you guys feel like existed in previous generations in these communities? Like, what support system that were there in previous generations that are missing today? And how do you feel that these have affected our neighborhoods, our families, and our communities?
I go first?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I've answered.
Okay. Well, from my personal opinion, and my friends always keep telling me, Diane, everybody's not you. Everybody don't respond to things the way they respond to you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try and be open-minded. But you know what? Nothing is missing. Mm-hmm. I think what we're not doing is connecting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think it's missing. Mm-hmm. I just think she may be sitting there saying, yeah, Diane, I'll help you, but you didn't ask.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I always tell people, I get this from Pastor Cullins. Pastor Cullins said, we keep saying when we go to heaven, it won't be any crying in heaven. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is going to be crying in heaven. Why? Because God going to say, I set you right beside her, but because you didn't know her and she was so pretty, you sized her up based on how she looked, how she dressed, and you decided, I can't say anything to her because I'm just Diane. And she had all the answer to your prayer. but because you allowed yourself,
Right.
and everybody want to put it on the devil. No, it was you.
Yes.
You allowed yourself to just judge her before you even decided to say something to her. And then if you just go and put yourself aside, be like, what was the man named Flip Wilson?
Yeah.
Devil, get thee behind me.
Yeah.
And just say, you know what, hi, my name is Diane Gibson. Blase, blase, blase. And then all of a sudden she gonna tell me, well, you know, I run a nonprofit, and you know, we pay utilities, we pay rent.
Yes.
I'm like, damn, that's what I need.
That's what I
rental
need.
assistance.
That's right.
Right.
That's
But
right.
here's the thing. We will gravitate. I notice us when we go to different places. We will gravitate to a table. She's black, and if we don't gravitate to that table, oh, I know her, so we're gonna go to that table. I go to the table where that little old white man sitting over there by himself,
Yes.
and I go over there and sit down with him. I talk with him. Do you all know that most of the things that I brought to this community was I met doing travel?
Yes.
Like this one lady, I met her on a flight, and I wanted to go to sleep. I wanted her to hush and go to sleep, but she wouldn't. And so I decided, okay, Diane, engage in the conversation. We got 2 hours on this plane, and it's obvious she's not gonna go to sleep.
Right.
And so she was talking about, she actually worked with a nonprofit called In Kind. And so what they did is they have worked with people like Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom's, and all them. So whenever they have a bad product or something, they donate it to this place called In Kind. And if you're a nonprofit, you can sign up with that nonprofit, and then all of a sudden you start getting donations
Wow.
as a nonprofit. So now Paul Quinn College, I'm always gonna make sure Concord get a taste of everything.
Okay.
And so I come back and I share that with everybody. Same thing that happened with I was in the parking lot. And this young lady, Dr. Phyllis, was there. The Potter's House had brought her in to run their nonprofit. And neither one of us knew how to put the money in the little parking thing in the parking lot downtown. So we did Parking Lot 101.
Okay.
And we developed a friendship from Parking Lot 101. So when she left the Potter's House, she went to a place called World Vision. And so what did she do? She said, Diane, I need your help. We're doing this place called World Vision where we donate to nonprofits. I mean, school supplies, furniture, you name it, you can get it as long as you're a nonprofit and you pay a membership fee. So that was something that, you know, naturally I told Concord first, and then I told the family, y'all need to take advantage of this. And now they have all kind of nonprofits. You guys, networking is not old fashioned anymore, but you got to make long lasting relationships.
Right. Yes.
It's not just enough for me to meet her,
Yes.
and then if I meet her, I got to come back and say, now you remember?
Yes.
No, I want to make such a good
Exactly.
impression on you until you're going to go home kind of like Railroad Commissioner Michael Williams. I met his wife, Donna, at a Democratic convention, and Donna and I talked so long. And we was talking, my dad is my favorite hero. And so it was natural all about my dad. She went back home, told her husband, the railroad commissioner at the time, he called me. He said, I just want to meet this woman that made such an impression on my wife.
See?
And that's what you have to do.
That's what you have
but
to
it
do.
has to be something of substance. She wasn't interested in whether her shoes matched her dress
Yeah.
or whether her hair was combed.
Right.
We talk what we need in this community. And so I think that's where our problem is, even with the young
Yeah.
people. And I keep telling them, my nieces and nephews that's in their 20s, quit trying to push us old people aside. You ain't gonna make it without us.
That's right.
Right.
I say
because
that
one
all the
thing
time.
you need is wisdom.
That's what I say,
Right.
Auntie,
And if
all the
all
time.
of us look back, we was young once young.
Oh, yes.
I told them, don't y'all think we came here this age?
Yeah.
Because they really look at us like, y'all know y'all was born like that,
Right.
right?
Okay, well, I want to say one thing while you on the side of me, okay? Because Texas Think Tank, we need you. So I want you to put me in the pot when you
I
start
sure will.
distributing money and things, because we are now working on our meal prep program for the seniors. Not only for seniors, it's a 3-tier, but not only for seniors, but for young students who are not able to have access to food. And we want to make sure that even when they get home, they have meals when they get home, even from leaving school. So we
Yes.
want to talk about that, but I want you to start putting me in the mix, putting this program.
I tell people, give me your phone
Yeah.
number. I do group text.
Yes.
And I'm glad you said that. I don't have the information. I have it on my phone, but I'm going to give you that. My girlfriend, Cheryl Mayo, just told me about something that the Potter's House is doing,
Okay.
where they're helping nonprofits to get money.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm saying. You guys, first of all, we got to read.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's what reading is truly fundamental.
Yes, ma'am.
And
You
then
see,
we
I
have to
pretty
stop believing that the only people can help us is those that look like us.
Exactly.
Majority
Exactly.
of my help and my support really come from Anglos. That Lynn McBay, and I hope she run for mayor one day, but Lynn McBay is one person that supports me 100%, and not just with everything else she has, with her support, with her friendship. You guys, we have got to get out of the fact that I don't know how to network. And just because they tell you no, keep us. I tell people 2 things make us happen in this world: having faith in God and keep your sense of humor.
That's right.
Right.
Recently, I ran for office, and somebody told me, "Well, Diane, you're just never serious about anything." I said, "So should I just walk around calling everybody MF, SOB?
You're right.
Does that make me serious?"
Yeah.
I deal with preachers, politicians, and poor people.
Right.
I need to know Jesus.
That's right.
And I need to keep a sense of humor.
Yes.
Otherwise, y'all have me on the news saying Diane went off on that person.
Right.
So to keep me from doing that, I have to develop a sense of humor, because it helps me to deal with all the things I just told you.
That's right.
So that's what we have to do, is actively get out and get involved and stop being so afraid. Now, when they sent me, y'all was a prime example. When whoever sent me my text,
I did.
it was a long text, y'all.
Yes, it
Late at
was.
night, it was long. It was long. You know, I always tell people, when you going to do a text that long, pick up that telephone. But you know what?
Well, I
it had
tried
to be
to
about
call.
midnight.
Yeah, I tried to call.
I got a block on my phone that if
Yes.
you're not programmed in there, it won't come through. So that's why I read it. And I kept reading. And then it said 3rd page. I kept reading. But you guys, here's the thing. When I got to the end of it, they were so nice and so sweet. I was like, you just told them people yes, and you don't even know what's on your calendar for Saturday. But I admired the fact that she took the initiative, took the time, explained to me what was going on. I had to be here through all that traffic.
Yeah.
I had to be here, because guess what? You guys, Cheryl Jackson says it best. We have to, if your crown is crooked, straighten it. And if we can actually help one another, let's do it. It bothers me when people get to the top and then they feel like, well, I'm going to send the car by to pick you up. Don't send no car. You be in the car with them.
She said that's her sister.
Cheryl Action Jackson.
Cheryl Jackson.
Action Jackson?
Oh no, not Cheryl Action Jackson.
Oh, okay then.
Cheryl from Golden Gate.
Oh, okay. Look, here's the thing. I would never run out of Cheryl friends here. I have enough to give everybody something. It's about
Really?
6. Yes. And the thing about it, when we're all together, they definitely know which one I'm talking to. Because I'm always called Cheryl Mayo. And then Cheryl Brown is always her full name. The other one is a judge. The other one is my attorney. So she always know when I'm talking to her. Cheryl Watley. She's the greatest. But I told her, it's all my friends named Cheryl. So yes, Golden Gate, oh my God, that's a whole nother
So
story.
I'm the niece of Cherie. Y'all call it, she wants to be called Cherie now, but her name is Sherry. And so I think she went back to Hadley or Sadler, one of the two. She was Fowler.
She's so wrong. See, that's why you don't let family do nothing. Cherie, you gonna be Cherie with me for life.
She gonna be, I know she gonna be Cherie, but she my auntie, and I call her Aunt Sherry because that's what Big Mama gave her. So, but I love you, Auntie. Don't play. I love you. Okay.
I'm gonna still call you Sherry.
But we're thankful for you today, and you are absolutely correct, Miss Nadia.
So what do you guys think? Because like Miss Diane said, it just takes somebody reaching out or somebody making a call or somebody just speak. Sometimes people just want to be acknowledged. Sometimes just speaking to somebody or just making that connection. So
Smiling.
right. Just let them know that you're not closed off and that you are open and that you can have a conversation with them, or you just never know. So how do you think, or what are the small things just to get started, like in communities or in neighborhoods, that ordinary citizens can do to cultivate effective change or be effective change makers?
Start with yourself.
Yes.
And Enchanted Villas, that's my HOA homeowners, it's 22 houses. We're in a gated community. Here's the thing. I love them saints in that gated community. You know why? Because anytime anything happens, now we don't visit each other's house. We normally during the summer meet at the mailbox. And so that's where we have our conversation. But we have people within that community that actually, anytime something go wrong, like we had a gas leak, guess what? Everybody that had a gas stove start cooking for those of us that didn't have an electric stove,
Right.
or those of us that didn't cook at all. But anyway, they started actually saying, okay, I'm cooking. Do you want to cook something or do you want to share my meal? Then we had an electrical outlet. So once we had the electrical outlet, oh my goodness, that was just really crazy too. Then COVID came. So when COVID came, we all looked out for one another, and we have a group text that anytime anything is going on in our community, we don't have to go knocking at your door or anything. We just send something out in the group text, and we have the best HOA president. Brenda is just off the hook wonderful. And so out of those 22 houses, now we do have one house that she's a little questionable, but at least we got 21 houses.
Right.
21. And so that's how you start. You know, it's like they say, how do I eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
And
Right.
so don't start big, because then you're going to get discouraged.
Yes.
Start doing something right there in your neighborhood, and then grow from there.
Right.
So I want to say this one thing, because I think too, also you said one big thing is that we all need to always go to our elders. Always go to our elders. And that's what I do. Whenever I start a project or whenever I'm thinking, because I'm always creating. And I'll go to an elder and I say, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because I always want to go back in history and see how they were successful in history.
That's
and be
right.
able to bring it here now into
And just
contemporary
put a new
time
twist
and put
to
a new
it.
twist to it.
That's it.
And so that we can get it started. So that is what I think our conversation is about today. And this podcast is about history.
Yes.
I always want to pull history into it in order to get where we are today. So because even through the midst of what our ancestors were going through in that time, we created and designed so much, and we persevered through so much, but we continue to build and
With
create.
everything against us.
Yes.
We still was able to do it.
But see, so that is the question today. Why can't we do that today?
With so much more
With so much more.
available to
Exactly.
us.
Because we're not teaching our young kids like what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not, we used to get dropped off at grandmother's house every
Oh, yes.
weekend, whether we wanted to
To
or
or
not. It wasn't a question about, so do you want to go to grandmama's this weekend? Not pack y'all stuff, y'all going
Yeah.
to grandmama's this
Yeah.
weekend. And so we were basically forced to get that wisdom. Kids now are not forced to go to grandmother. I'm not complaining, y'all. But
Right.
they're not forced to go to grandmother's house anymore. And then you got those grandmothers like me that ain't trying to do it either. So I'm getting better. I'm getting better. But you guys, here's what I'm saying. It was so funny. I love the way Pastor Brian Carter and Pastor Bailey did it at Concord. I came to Concord at 27 years old. Girl, I thought I was going to run the world. I thought I was going to take over everything. And Pastor Bailey took me to the side and said, I admire the fact that you're willing. I don't want to kill your energy or anything. He said, I admire the fact that your daddy taught you to respect elders. He said, otherwise, me and you would have some serious problems.
Right.
So what he did was he actually took me, and I told him I had to be really bad because he put 5 elderly people over Diane.
Right.
5 of the senior citizens in the church, and they all work with me simply for the fact that I grew up with my dad and not my mom. So he figured I needed some women.
That's
Women.
beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And so when he put me with them, I was able to still blossom and still grow. But I had them, and they're not only wisdom, baby, they're your protectors.
That's
Right.
right. That's it.
That's what I keep trying to tell these young people. Don't push us to the side, because not only are we going to bring you wisdom,
See?
but you're going to hit some rocks in the road.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? You're going to need some strong mountains. See, we ain't rocks no more. We mountains now.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And when you run into that bump, you better hope you got a wisdom in your corner so that they can say, I'm going to need you to back up off that one.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I know they're a little young and crazy, but I need you to back up. So young people, you don't need that old wisdom. You also need that protection.
Protection.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
So the church, Nadia, if you can veggie with me on this one. So when I think of building communities, I think of starting at the church, because the church was the foundation.
Right.
Still is.
And if we go back to the 1920s, we can go even further back than that. But when we started the church, you would know, when we started the church was utilized for what? It wasn't just utilized for services. It was utilized for education. It was utilized for starting movements. It was
Yep.
utilized for, okay, who's going to start this little volunteer things? Who's going to do this, feeding, helping the poor and all this stuff. Oh, this baby going to school. Okay, we're going to start a fund for that and get that school. So it was like a ecosystem in the church that Do we still have that today?
Yes, Lord. And I know a lot of people think that we don't, but I'm a living testimony to tell you, yes, we do. And here's the danger with the churches is that if they come out and just start bragging and saying, we helped so-and-so, we did this, we did this. Then we say, oh, now, did you do it to brag about it? Well, I mean, what do y'all want? If we don't say nothing, then you say we ain't doing nothing. But if we say something, then they bragging. What you want?
Right.
Come on, make up your mind. The African American Pastor Coalition, all of those churches, Reverend S.M. Wright and Reverend, what's his name? He gonna kill me. Cornerstone Baptist Church, Pastor Chris Sims. Baby, they do it every day over in South Dallas. They're helping the homeless. They're feeding the homeless. I even go over to S.M. Wright Church myself on Thursday. Don't y'all tell nobody.
Okay.
Because they have Wendy's and Williams Chicken over there that they be giving away too.
Okay.
And they give away clothing too.
Okay.
This ain't just doing holidays. They do it every week.
But see, that's something that the community don't know about.
See?
So that's what I'm saying. We got to put something together.
Well, but that's where, like Miss Diane was saying, that networking, because a lot of times, you know, one or two people know about something. It's like, well, I'm not going to tell her because I don't want her over there where I am.
Right.
Or I'm not going to tell her because I don't want her to know that's where
Speak
I got
well.
my shirt from.
Yeah.
That's where I got my dress
Speak
from.
well.
Right? So we are taking part or utilizing those resources in the community. However, we are hindering other parts of our community because we don't want them to know for whatever reason.
See,
Or
flesh and blood didn't reveal that, baby. Go on, talk.
you know, so you have to, like Miss Diane said, you know, sometimes the churches can't, and I totally agree. You can't just go out there and say, oh, we're paying light bills and we did this and we did that and we did that, because now we all about money and we all about doing this and we only did it because we want a tax write-off and that sort of thing. But it's up to the community when you have a resource or a product or even if that resource is a person, share that information. That's right. Like how hard, it's not taking anything away from you. It's not hindering you. It's not harming you, but it's helping build your community.
And now with social media, you guys,
Yeah.
if you post everything else, if you go out there and trip your ankle, they're going to have that trip and that fall on social
yeah.
media.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Before you get out
Before
of
you
here,
get out of-
girl. So if you can put that on your social media page, why don't you tell everybody, like I've gone to 3 back to school events before I got here today. Why don't post that?
But see, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to understand, what do we think is important?
We don't. Everybody always says,
Yeah.
That's what we think is
thank
important.
you.
Yeah.
Self.
I think I am important. I think my children are important.
Right.
I think what's inside of the walls of this apartment or
It's
this wherever
important.
I am is important. I think the car that I drive is important.
What
But the
did-
real things, like my community, like the elderly lady
Yes.
that lives across the street that I don't know
Yes.
if she's eating at night or
Yes.
not.
Oh,
Or-
yeah,
Exactly.
she has air and all
If she-
this.
Yes.
So that's not important to us.
So how do we get there? That's what I'm saying. Just like Mama Mamie Till said, we have to make it our business. So what can we do that is going to attract them versus I'd rather hear Beyonce come to town. She come to town, you know. And then we're going to take, oh, girl, y'all know, oh, Chris Brown is that. Okay, that's not building your community, though.
Because we don't care until it directly affects us.
It comes to your front door.
Bruce Carter was telling me, we was at Grandma's Cafe, and he said, Diane, he said, you know, I was going to former then the late Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson office, and people were losing their houses and everything, and she didn't do anything. I said, oh, no, we're not going to do that lie.
Okay.
And so he said, Diane, I said, yes, she did. And she brought all the mortgage companies here. She brought one set to Friendship West. Then she came out to Fair Park.
Yes, she did.
And so here's what Bruce said. Well, Diane, we didn't know anything about it. And there's other people besides them. I said, no, baby. Over 5,000 people showed up. I said, and then I announced it. I said, but here's the thing now. So you're telling me that you had 10 people that did not. They lost their homes because you couldn't get Congresswoman Johnson to help you. Well, first of all, I'm still in my home because
Right.
of Congresswoman Eddie Bernice
Right.
Johnson. I said, but now, Bruce, here's the thing. Every time you have a problem with the city, you call who? He said, you. Okay, so when you was having a problem with them people's houses, why you
didn't
didn't
you call
call
me?
If you couldn't get to her,
Yeah.
my number has been the same.
That's
I got
it.
the same number for 25 years.
That's right.
Why didn't you call me then
Right.
instead of telling me about it after the fact? And see, those are things. And then it's just like I tell him, I do 6 radio stations in this market, right? Now I can go on there and tell them, look, we doing mortgage saving. We're trying to get you to save your home.
Yes.
And then few people will show up. I'm gonna go on the same radio station, do another announcement at the same time. But this time, we giving away Nike shoes at 8500 Stemmons Freeway.
Oh, baby, this
Y'all
gonna be flying
better watch
everywhere.
out, because they
Yeah.
gonna block this
Oh, yeah.
freeway.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm giving out something of interest to them.
Exactly.
It's like now, all these kids, I tell them every year, you guys, here's how you do the back to school supply. If I have 3 or 4 kids, if I have one child, I'm going to sit down and strategically plan where
Yes,
all
good.
of the back to school supply drives
Right.
are. We don't keep names.
Right.
We don't verify, did you go to somebody else and
Exactly.
get it. You just come and get it while
come
the
get it.
supplies last. I would go to every, because they're all free. All free and on the bus line. All free and on the bus line. And I promise you all, come August the 11th, when school start back, I'm going to show y'all how many phone calls I'm going to get saying, Miss Diane, my kids don't have their back to school supplies.
Right.
My kids don't have no
Right.
shoes. But now I done told you all this time how to go get everything. They giving out free clothes,
Yeah.
the free exams over
Yeah.
at Friendship West,
Yeah.
the health checks up.
Yeah.
Everything is free, y'all.
Everything is free.
Everything.
I think one thing, and we talked about this, I think last episode, when Miss Diane said, somebody calls her for everything, but when it was his mortgage, his home, he didn't call her. Remember, we were talking about trauma and generational
Yes.
trauma,
Yes.
and that what happens in this house stays in this house type of thing, right?
Until
So-
you don't have the house.
Until you, right.
Yes.
Make it
And
make
so,
sense.
so we have to understand that, you hear a lot of people say, well, it was good enough for mama, it's good enough for me. You have more than what mama had. You have more to work with. You have more at your fingertips than mama ever had.
That's right. That's right.
So you should be doing better. You
Yes.
have more opportunities.
Yes.
So I think, with that situation, and I'm sure it's 200, 300,000 more like that, we are so holding on to shame, or is she going to tell somebody, or
Right.
what's she
But
going
see,
to
it
say?
wasn't even his house. He was helping 10 other people that house was facing foreclosure. And my attitude was, but you can call me for everything
For
else.
everything
Why you
else,
couldn't have
yeah.
called me to say, Diane,
That's right.
how can we help these 10 people
Yes.
not lose their home?
Right.
And the services was there, you guys.
Right.
It was there. And like I told him, even when I shared my testimony about how Congresswoman Johnson helped me, it was so funny. People calling, Diane, why are you sharing that? I said, because God says, when you've been blessed and you've been helped, you share that
You
testimony.
share it, yeah.
Ain't no shame in my game, baby.
That's right.
I'd rather tell you she saved my house
And be
than
in
I'm
my
out there on that
house.
corner.
So let's do this. So what should we do? We need to start. Okay, because we got the church. Now let's move to the education part. So now we need to start educating.
Yes.
So what we need to start doing, we need to take it upon ourselves again, going to our elders, seeing how we can, like she says, strategize this. How do we make structures so that, like me, Nadia, so on, get a group of children every weekend on a Saturday, like Nadia was saying, we'll go to a library, we'll put this out saying this is what we're going to make it fun, make it inviting, make it something interesting to the children to bring them in, because we have to meet them where they are.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, we also need to meet them parents too, because we need the support of the parents. Just like with my Adukabi program, I need the support of my parents. So at the end of the day, we have to have the education. So education plays a part in us reconstructing the community or rebuilding a community, because again, we're in neighborhoods, we're not in community anymore, because black communities aren't thriving. Do we have one black community here that is thriving? One. Do we have one in Dallas that's thriving right now?
That's a good question. I'm going to find an answer, but I don't have it right now.
Okay.
I think that there's a gap, Tiffany, like the children, because when you catch children, even in treatment and whatever, when I'm working with children, children buy it, hook, line, and sinker. And then, if there's an elder person in the family, grandma, whatever, grandma's all for it. Look, tell me what you need me to do. How do you, that middle, that the parents who they didn't get that grandmother house every
That's
weekend
right.
that we got. They didn't get that, so that's where we're losing it. And the thing about it is, I can give this child 100 different skills, strategies, techniques to handle whatever happens in their life. They're with me an hour to a week. They're in their home all day, every day. So that is the influence. So you're right. It's going to have to start with the parents, because the kids, kids want structure. Kids want guidelines.
They really do.
They want to learn.
They
Kids-
do.
And like I said, when I'm working with the child, children, they're fun. After 2 or 3 sessions, and they get comfortable. They're fun. They want it. They're asking
because
questions.
they know you care.
But the parents,
Yes.
I'm having to sell myself, the strategies,
Yes,
the service, the
everything, yes.
I'm having to sell
Yes,
all
all
of
of
that
this.
to the parent to help your child.
Mhm.
And they don't want to be involved. They want to come, drop them off, go. I'll be back in an hour. I'll be back in 2 hours.
But that's the same thing they're doing at the churches.
Yeah.
The churches that have
Oh, yeah.
children's church.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. They drop them off, and then they come. Some of them they let stay for both services, and then they come back and pick them up after both services. But here's the thing. Here's what God told us to do. He said, look, I need you to plant the seed. Now, it may not grow when you first plant it,
Right.
but guess what? You may come along and plant it. You may
Exactly.
come along and plant it. And I'm sure all of us could one day say that, look, my grandmother told me this, and I was 12 when she told me this. And now here it is at 40, 50, or 60. Now it's coming back around.
Right.
Oh, my God, that's what she said. So we have to, I love some of the organizations like the Jack and Jill, the Links, and other club organizations. In order for your youth to participate, they have to do so much community
Oh,
service
yes.
hours.
And that's what they
And
have
so
to do.
I think that's what we have to get back
Yes,
to.
yes.
One weekend a month, y'all, I would have 8 kids in my house. Bonus nieces and nephews, and some nieces and nephews. Here's what I would tell them. Friday night, whatever you want to do, let's do it. Let's just be crazy Friday night.
yeah.
Guess what they had to do Saturday morning? We out here in this community.
That's right.
You had to do community service.
Yes.
From the 2-year-old all the way up to the 17-year-old.
That's right.
They have been push cars at polling places. They go to different charity organizations. It was so unique that when my nieces went to Green Hill, we did that. You have to do the community service thing, and the lady basically said we was lying. I said, oh no, that's why I take pictures of everything they do. Honey.
Right.
And so I did a whole little portfolio
Collage.
for her.
I know.
I did it all.
Yes,
I told
ma'am.
her, no, we don't have to lie. Yeah, you have to do. So I think we start with our family and those kids that we have direct contact with. Teach them, but now with kids, just like adults, we have to reward them, and it always
Exactly.
don't have to be money.
Exactly.
But what you have to do is don't make them do everything you want them to do, and then you don't get a chance to do anything they want. And a lot of them say we don't listen to them. And so I always tell them, I'm going to listen to you. I know that's going to be crazy what you're saying, but I'm going to listen to you.
Exactly.
And I do. They be like, it
do
ain't
too.
crazy. But I tell them, you get ready to say something crazy, and then you have to listen to what they have to say.
Right.
And so they'll go off, and even with religion, it's the same thing.
Yes.
But I can't make them feel bad about it because you didn't push them to it.
Right.
But yeah, they started some little new religion. My little grandson told me, well, Grandy, what make the Bible correct? I told him, boy, look, we ain't going to be crazy. It's only one God in this house. We
Right.
serve one God, one faith, and one baptism. And you have to start with your kids. But guess what you have to have in order to do anything with your kids? You have to have a rapport with them.
That's right.
Right.
You
That's
have to have a relationship with them. And sometimes I tell my sister-in-laws and my sisters and brothers, don't get mad with your kids for talking to me, because a lot of times they find that aunt, that cousin
do.
that they can really relate to without being judgmental.
Right.
And yes, they going to say some crazy stuff. They going to do some crazy stuff. Thank God social media wasn't there when I was growing up.
Right.
And so what we have to do is make them feel comfortable. I don't care how off it may sound. I don't care what it is. But you tell them, come go with me. Now, the other thing with this group that's coming up now, you have to practice what you preach.
Absolutely.
Because them little crazy kids will tell me, now, Auntie, are you gossiping? Are you
See?
listening to my phone conversation?
See? Right.
But yeah, they actually will corner you
Right.
on what you're doing, and then they will question you. So just be careful when you take them out to do community service, because sometimes I even tell people, and they really getting on your nerve, you better be glad these little kids with me, because you're going to get a bow on this.
Right.
You gonna,
But I like that though, Auntie. I like that. I like that they're inquisitive. I like that they're asking questions
Yes.
because when we were growing up, we couldn't ask questions. You don't question it.
do as I said,
You don't
not as
question
I
it.
do.
I'm like, well, how am I gonna learn if I don't question? I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, growing up, like you say, in the church, I grew up in the church. I grew up with Diane Ragsdale, Charlotte Ragsdale. Charlotte was over our youth choir program in Trust and Believe. Act up if you want to, because they knew everybody, mama. Okay,
Everybody.
And we had, when we did that, they rewarded us. We used to go skating, things
Thank
like
you,
that.
see?
So, but how can we bring that back? That's what I'm saying. We got to
Just
bring
start with a
solutions.
small group of kids.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have 6. Thank God they grown up. And then, but now they got little kids themselves. I'm having a
Yeah.
problem dealing with them. One of my
Yeah.
nieces has 4 boys. I'm trying to get there. I did take them to a track meet, but these little kids now they get a little different. Because I have one Titus. Y'all, Titus would be on tour this whole studio if he was here with me. 7 years old, smart as a wit, basketball, football. The little
Got a lot
boy's
of energy.
Genius.
He has
But he'll
energy.
walk in here and tell you, "Hi, my name is Titus, and I'm so bad." I'm like, "Little crazy boy." If you can say you so bad, you can say I'm Titus and I'm so good.
And I'm so
Right, I'm
good.
so
Yes.
good.
And so you have to redirect that energy. I don't want Titus. I don't hit him or sit him in a corner, because I don't want Titus to think he can't be aggressive and he can't introduce
Or to
himself.
feel like what he's doing
Right.
is wrong.
You
Feel
just
like
have to
he's-
try to figure out a way to redirect that with Titus. And so I always tell Titus when he see me, if you run up to me and say, "Hi, Auntie, my name is Titus. I'm a genius. I'm so wonderful. I got something for you."
Right.
Now when I see Titus, that's what Titus would do, because why? I didn't want Titus to think that he couldn't walk in here and be happy
Exactly.
about who
Who
he was.
That's right. That's
and
right.
Who he's
We
going
never
to
want to
be.
discourage.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
so
Yeah.
start small. I keep telling people, don't try to start big.
No.
Because then you get discouraged if you feel like you didn't reach them. And then guess what? Some kids you may not reach right then, but guess what? You planted the seed.
Right.
Now somebody else may come by and water it. But plant the seed. That's what God holds us accountable for.
Right,
Planting
right.
the seed.
And so, with that, because we've talked about each other and or individuals in the community, what role or what part, when we're trying to start and build these communities now or rebuild these communities, what role or do you guys think that like church and faith leaders and community leaders, what role? I get that they're doing things in the church, but then what happens in those communities, the communities in that those churches are in?
Yeah.
Like what role
What
do
role are
they
they
play
playing outside of the church?
Outside of the church,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I have that big question too, because I want to know what roles are they playing, and I want to be optimistic with this, and I want to be open, but I'm not seeing a lot of what, because I'm a history buff.
Okay.
And people tell you, Miss, I don't know if you know Claudia Fowler.
Yes.
Okay, well that's
Miss Joplin.
and my auntie. That's my auntie. I had her on the show last week, and I'm so thankful for her because she moved me in this direction of doing this podcast, and I really appreciate her grooming me and being there for me. And Grand Rising Auntie, you didn't text me this morning, but it's okay. I love you. But my thing is that I want to make sure we stay focused on this, because I want to hit some very important parts of this conversation.
Okay.
So, like Nadia is saying, what parts are they playing outside of the church? Because if you understand, the church is, when you say the body of the church, well, okay, but what body? Because the people that are around, just even like an educator, yeah, you might work in the schools, but what are you doing outside of that? As an educator, you're always educating. So what can we do to continue that so that we can restore what we need to, because we need that mentality of saying, yes, we need to have a community. Yes, we need to be circulating our dollars. Yes, we need to be building structure.
I think a lot of and not to say, because I think a lot of churches are doing things outside of the church,
really
right?
are.
I think that again, that what happens in this house, that stigma, that person who know they're an alcoholic, who knows they're on drugs, who know they don't have the right clothes for church, right? They are embarrassed or afraid, don't want to be turned away, don't want to be shunned, don't want to be. But then on the other side of that, I think that we, as the members or the body of that church, when we're doing things, think outside of the box. Don't limit it to, I don't know, the Boys and Girls Club or the Rec.
Yes.
Or the, like, go to where those people are.
Yes.
To help them to understand that, baby, you don't have to come into church. You don't have to have on heels and your hair. We can minister, we can feed, we can do all of those things, meet you where you are. And I think that's an important, that's maybe, important, especially in our communities, is to be more seen, for the church to be more seen.
And I think they're doing a good job. There's always room for improvement. But I remember when we asked Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes to come on K104, and he was like, y'all want me to come on K104? And we was like, yeah. And oh my God, he actually started a night service just from coming and just saying just what you said. He met them where they were.
Exactly.
He did not tell them how you had to be saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. Now you get there. But he came on K104. He did that for almost 10 years.
For years,
And it helped his church to grow. Why? Because they saw Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes in a whole different light.
They see him as a person first.
And then he actually gave them something to motivate them.
Yes.
You all would be amazed at the number of calls we got because of him and his IV that he would give them every morning to keep them motivated.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes
I
people were
listened
at
to him.
the edge,
Yes.
on the edge, but somebody said something. So I don't think it's not because churches are not doing anything. We have to be willing to participate because God tells us ourselves, you don't force yourself on them. You make it available to them. But you have churches that Concord goes out street witnessing on Saturday.
right.
And then, like I said, a lot of them are having community events. Friendship West has a huge, and it ain't no, you have to be a member. Anybody that wants to stop by and join. Plus now you got the churches going and adopting different schools now. So they're doing basically but keep in mind, I may be an RN and I'm here to help people medically and I may do a little community work, but my main focus is where? In the medical field.
Yes.
So the church main focus is to make sure we get people saved, get them to
Saving
know
souls.
Jesus. But the bottom line is, like I said again, IBOC is having a back to school supply drive. Friendship West is having one, and all this is open to the community.
Right.
And you guys, even though we don't celebrate what we call Halloween, we call it All Saints Eve. So IBOC, Friendship West, Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, Antioch, Concord, all 5 of those churches joined together to provide a safe and comfortable environment. And y'all, they shut, that was Camp Wilson and Wheatland, they shut it down and bring all those kids up there and they go from one place to the other. Now, we as the good Christian, when they come to church, that's why we've dropped our dress code. You come as you are, and that's what a lot of churches are doing now. But then you still have the people like Dr. Williams who's still going to put her heels on and her hat on and she going to dress because that's her tradition.
That's her tradition.
Yeah.
But if I come to church like this and I sit by you, I don't need you to look me up and down.
Right.
It's not the pastor's fault. It's not the church fault. That's an individual fault.
Right.
Yes.
Or if I come to church like most people now, some of them now on different medications has to keep drinking water. Well, if I got my bottle of water, my little container with my water in it, unless I'm making a whole bunch of noise and doing something crazy, why are you
Why is
looking
it-
at me crazy because I'm in the sanctuary drinking water? So guys, it's an individual thing
Right.
that people are not coming to the church. Not the pastors, not the deacons, not any of them, but sometimes we look at people, or if you got somebody crazy like we had one time, that's my seat.
Yeah.
Girl, gone. That ain't your seat. That's whoever get in that seat.
Yeah.
And so then you got the pastors doing everything to bring them in, but then you got the individual members,
The members
who are
pushing
doing
them out.
crazy things
Right.
that pushing them out.
Right.
Because if somebody come and that's the seat I normally sit in and you sitting there, you don't tell them people that's your seat. We don't have no reserved seat in that Concord.
Yeah.
You know, so all I'm saying is we have to sometimes look at this thing from an individual basis
Right.
as to why the community, because like I said, we have a down dress code.
Yeah.
Now, if you come at 11, they just came from the club and come into the church. And we still love them and we still embrace them. But it's individuals within the church sometimes that that keep them out.
So Nadia, you posed the question. Do Because we got to get to this, like, so who are we looking towards so that we can start saying, okay, we need to change that mentality. So where do we go? Where do we start so that we can change that mentality? Because we have this whole thing. We got to heal. We got to we got all these things going on. Illness, mental illness. We got all
Yep.
these things going on with melanated people. From the post traumatic slave syndrome and things of that nature. People don't understand that we have those traumas from our ancestors, from
Yep.
that post-traumatic slave syndrome, from that era. We are carrying that, and then not only that, we have our own traumas that we're carrying. So how we got to get through all of these things in order to build a community, or even have the the
Well, and I think just like Miss Diane said, it's going to start with individuals.
Yes.
Individuals making new connections,
Mm-hmm.
building trust, and having a shared sense of responsibility.
yes,
right?
that's what I want
Because
to do. Yes.
when we were younger, or when I was younger, and I grew up in Louisiana, and I was either with one grandmother or the other on the weekend.
Thank
Either
you.
you here or there.
Yes.
And
But you was
all
with somebody,
summer,
grandma.
you somewhere with somebody. And so, with my mom's mom, I could go outside on the front porch, and by the time I get to the end of the street, Miss Mary or Miss B or somebody across the street would say, "Where you going?"
Yeah. Yeah. We can't do that
And
no
my
more.
grandmother's name was Marie, but they would say, "Does Mary know where you going?"
Yeah.
You told Mary where, because they didn't see her on the porch.
Yeah.
So, but we don't have. We could see something happening. People see things.
Yeah.
And don't say a word.
Yeah. We
And
don't
I
have
keep
that.
getting on the city about that.
Yeah.
Mayor Rollins, when he was the mayor, he said, well, Diane, if they see something, why don't they say something? I said, the reason why is because you got to teach code
Yeah.
and DPD
Yeah.
that if you say something
Right.
about your neighbor, don't show up at my house and say, well, your neighbor's the one that told us. Come on. We're not sharing because we are afraid and we don't want to do it. You guys, because repercussion is real.
That's
Right.
right.
And so when you do it, and that's why we created community prosecution within the city of Dallas, and those are attorneys that go to people's houses to talk with them and find out what's going on in the neighborhood. But what we're not going to do anymore now with the city is send the police to your house,
Right.
and then now your neighbor saying, I know she did not just call the police on
Right.
us. So now you still have to live in that
Yes.
neighborhood, and it's retaliation.
Yes.
So that's why I tell people it's about education.
Yes.
Stop thinking that we ain't telling on Snuffy
Yes.
and we ain't telling on Sue because we don't want to tell, we don't want to get involved. No, we don't. You have to find a different way to handle that. When we call in and tell you, I think this is a drug house next door to me, don't come to my house in no police car.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And I
Yeah.
think and that's what I was trying to get to when I say, like, what part do the community leaders and those
Yes.
people play? Like, we can do all the talking and whatever, but I'm sure in most communities there are some people that probably need to be moved out.
Yes.
In most communities there's things that need to be cleaned up.
Yes.
And most, like, there's stuff that needs to be done that we're gonna need the city, the
Yes.
police department,
Yes.
the code enforcement, all those things. But with those people coming into our communities, those things that have to be done, like my grandma said, decent and in order.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
You
So
can't come
can't
in
just
and cause a
right.
bigger problem than the
Yes.
problem I called
Thank
you
you.
for.
Exactly.
And so I think that's where it comes down to, like, the community leaders coming in, be it the police chief or whoever, and saying, okay, if this is what you guys are trying to do and this is what you want to do, how can we help?
Yes.
What can we offer? What can we do? And there be some communication and
That's
some compromise.
it.
But
That's
you guys, here's the thing now. We don't participate in the community meetings.
That's what I'm
It's not
getting.
enough
Right.
of us
Yes.
at the city
Yes.
to go to everybody's
Everybody's
house.
house. That's right.
Now let me tell you, y'all got it here 1st. Starting next month, starting this month, they're going to be doing community meetings where if you live in the city of Dallas, every city department will be at those community meetings. But here's the thing: as staff, we used to laugh and say, You know, when we go to these community meetings, there's more staff people here than the community. That is your opportunity then to be up close and personal
Right.
with DPDC. That is your time then to be up close and personal with all code,
Right.
park and rec, your
Yes.
city council people. But you guys, how do we get us? Because we can't go to everybody's house, but we have community prosecutors that if you call and you saying I'm having a problem, they come with the police, they come with code, they will do it. But you got to call 311 and let us know you need it, or you got to go to these community meetings, and you have to be able to speak up. So while you're looking at social media, while you're looking at that, whatever city you live in, whether it's the city of Dallas, city of Lancaster, city of anywhere, you need to find out when they're having these community meetings and then come out and say, like we had to fight when Councilman Atkins was there because we wanted sidewalks. Y'all, guess what? We getting sidewalks. Same thing with DART. You want a DART bus to be conveniently located? You got to speak up. I keep telling us the only advantage that North Dallas has against us, not because they have more money, that ain't it. They know how to go buy t-shirts.
Yeah.
Whenever there's something that affects North Dallas,
Yeah.
they get everybody to come down there with a t-shirt.
But Auntie, that's a community.
See?
That is a community,
And that's what we have to do.
have to do that. But see, but then again, that's where our elders come in, and people, because guess what? I want to go to this meeting, but guess what? I don't know what to say because I have not been trained in that manner. Now, I get it that we're not going here, but look at the structure of the home now. Look at the structure of the home. Look at the structure of the school. It wasn't like when we were going to school, because every teacher knew my mama. Tiffany, don't make me call Pat.
But see,
You know?
here's the sad part about it. It's like I said, they don't know nothing until it directly affect Lil Snuffy.
Right.
Soon as something happened at the school to Lil Snuffy, then all of a sudden, I'm like, so you know my number now. Well, baby, when we was trying to tell you about the new laws when school go back into effect, Judge Kelly now is on social media every week now telling you guys what new laws took effect that will affect your kids when they go back to school. The same thing like when Senator West they said, well, y'all can't have all the meetings in the evening time. So we had them in the morning time. Can't have them during the morning. So we had them during lunchtime. We had them morning, noon, and night. And so here's the thing. Soon as they said there's no tolerance, y'all, in the schools no more. You can't have little Sue and little Johnny fighting no more. There's consequences. We couldn't get 10 people to come to the meeting. All of a sudden now, when little Johnny got suspended,
Now you
want us all to stop everything we're doing.
have
But
to
we
be
was trying to
proactive.
tell you there's
Yes.
zero tolerance. Same thing like going back to school Tuesday. Laws have changed. And if you are going through social media, you need to look on Judge Kelly's page and let her tell you and explain to you. So now you guys, you don't even have to get out your house and go to the meeting. We're doing things virtually now. So you could just use the same telephone that you look for everything else on and just do it virtually. But we have got to get involved before it directly affect us. I always tell them with the Nolan Wells case, do you all understand? For me, I'm saying God is saying, okay, I got y'all attention again now, and I'm trying to tell you something. Just because you moved to the suburb don't mean you the suburb.
That's right.
And so you need to be careful in talking to your kids and letting them know. Because I'm sorry, my granddaughter lives in Frisco. Yeah, you don't get to go to people's houses. Yeah, you don't just go talking about spending the night.
Yeah.
You done lost your mind.
Well, see, we were speaking about that too
And
last
so,
week.
but we have to. But you all, I know y'all have noticed.
Oh,
this,
yes.
that when we move out to the suburb, and I'm not saying everybody, so please don't start calling me.
Yes.
I'm not putting everybody in the same category.
Yeah.
But have you noticed when we move out to the suburb, or when we're around some people that are not of ebony hue, some people whole voice change. Hey, girl. Hey, who? Girl, how you been doing? We was just over at
Yes.
the Blues Palace and you wasn't talking
Talking
like
like that.
Now all of a sudden we at Capitol Grill. Your whole demeanor done changed.
It's
Right.
the code
You know
switching.
what? Be who you are.
Be who you
so
are.
then that way when you're around different people, they don't have to wonder, well, who's she gonna be today?
Yes.
Who's she gonna be tomorrow?
Yes.
Stay
Yes.
true to
Stay
yourself.
true to yourself.
And even though my nieces and nieces went to a private school, they went to Green Hill during the day, but guess where they went to summer camp and where they went to spring camp? Martin Luther King Rec Center.
Yes, yes.
Why?
yes.
Because I want them to be able to know how to deal with everybody. But I also don't want you to forget, just because your daddy played professional football, that you ain't one of us.
Right.
You can still do all of that. But you need to still, because these kids now are facing a whole lot more. And if you saw that Nolan Wells interview, the poor little kid, when he was even being arrested, even the police officer, I felt like was trying to help him. Yeah, I did it. I'm like, if you don't shut up.
But
Yeah.
the thing about it is, like I was telling Miss Tiffany, we were talking about the last 2 episodes prior, like talking about my book and stuff, and trying to teach teenagers their rights, teach
Please.
parents. Once these kids start driving and they're out there without you, there's certain things that if they don't know, I don't care how many times they pass the driver's test, they shouldn't be out there by themselves.
If you haven't taught them anything,
If you-
just because they got a license and they have a credit card and a cell phone, they feel like that's all they need. I'm like, that's just dumb as hell right there. You need to teach them, because they are going to get stopped
Yes,
by a
ma'am.
police officer. You need to teach these kids before you put that responsibility on them.
And so I think, and my thing is going to always be education.
Thank you.
Educate everybody. But one of the themes we've heard throughout this conversation is that no single person, organization can do this alone. Like
Nope.
government, school, churches, nonprofits, and even the individuals in that community. They're going to need outside help. So strong communities are built through collaboration.
Right.
And I think that's pretty much sums up our it's going to
Yeah.
be it's going to have to be collaboration. The community leaders or the leaders are going to have to come in, and the people in that community are going to have to go out. Everything you need, you're
Yeah.
not going to be able to find right here. So
You
I
got to
think
get outside your little
collaboration.
comfort zone.
Absolutely.
You have to move outside. And you guys, hold your elected officials accountable. Don't let them keep pimping you when it's time for re-election, and then you don't see them anymore.
Right.
And then when you put them in office, hold them accountable. If you know you're having, like some people now, they're racing up and down their street. Well, guess what? Call your city council person and tell them, look, I am sick and tired of it, so since you can't send police over here, I need speed bumps over here. If you don't have street lights, call your, but now here's the key. If you're a registered voter that don't vote, don't expect a quick response.
Right.
So call them if you're voting, but you guys hold all of us accountable. Your pastor, your leaders, and you actually have HOA presidents. You have what they call precinct chairs. So there are local people in your neighborhood that you can reach out and touch.
So I'm gonna have to bring this to a close. This is
Okay.
such a great conversation. Oh my goodness! And I guess this warrants further conversation, because we do want to build stronger communities, but we have to know how to build those communities, because we've lost touch with that. But again, just like Miss Diane is saying, you got to get with your political figures. You have to get with your pastors and your teachers, your educators. They all play a major part in us going back into the concept of how to build a community. I really thank everybody for the show today. This was Nadia's show today. Thank you so much, Nadia. You did an amazing job.
Yes.
She's gonna have to do it again. Thank you so much for your time, Ms. Gibson. Me and you are going to be working very closely together moving
Thank you.
forward. I am going to myself start interjecting myself in more meetings and being a part of and learning more, so that I can be proactive in giving out that
Yes.
information. Thank you so much today, Ms. Montana Mitchell. I forgot to introduce her in the beginning. We was going so slow, but thank you so much for the after party, for giving us this platform to be able to have these critical conversations, so that people can be able to understand where we are today, from history to now. And I always move in that way, history and then now, bringing that history back into today. So I thank you again,
Thank you for the
Melanated
opportunity.
Nation, building generations, building legacies, one generations at a time. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great evening.
Be blessed.
Thank you.